He sat across from me at 2 a.m. in an empty diner. 3 years ago, this man was destroyed, bankrupt, divorced, publicly humiliated. His business partners turned on him. His wife left with half of nothing. The media painted him as a failure. I watched him crumble in real time. But now, he owns the companies that fired him. He drives the cars they said he'd never afford. He lives in the penthouse they said was impossible. He leaned forward, and in the fluorescent diner light, I barely recognized him. The brokenness was gone, replaced by something cold, something calculated. He said 6 words that changed everything. I stopped playing their game. This is the Machiavelli Protocol. Right now, you're bleeding, not blood, energy. Your life force is draining through 1,000 invisible cuts. Every conversation where you explain yourself, bleeding. Every time you tolerate disrespect to keep the peace, bleeding. Every text you send, trying to prove your worth, bleeding. Every apology for having boundaries. You're hemorrhaging power. And the worst part, they can smell it, the manipulators, the energy vampires, the users, the ones who take and never give back. They've built their entire existence around people like you. People who give, people who care, people who sacrifice. They've turned your kindness into their feeding ground. But here's what they don't know. Here's what's about to shift the entire dynamic. You're about to become unreachable, untouchable, unbreakable. Welcome to the Machiavelli Protocol. I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm not here to tell you everything will be okay if you just think positive thoughts. I'm here to make you dangerous. Not with violence, not with aggression, with presence, with psychological dominance, with strategic silence. In the next 15 minutes, you'll learn the exact system that separates the dominated from the dominant, the used from the users, the broken from the unbreakable. 7 protocols. Each one burns away a piece of your old self. Each one demands you sacrifice something you thought defined you. Your need to be liked, your need to be understood, your need to explain, your need to be chosen. By the end of this, you won't recognize your own reflection, but everyone else will. They'll feel the shift before they understand it. And before we begin, I need to know you're serious. Drop this in the comments right now. I refuse to bleed. Let's see who's actually ready for this transformation. Protocol 1. Kill your availability. Listen carefully because this will contradict everything you've been taught. Your biggest mistake wasn't trusting the wrong people. It wasn't being too kind. It wasn't caring too much. It was being available to them, constantly, predictably, reliably. Machiavelli wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand." Translation? People respect what they see, not what you explain. And what do they see when you're always available? When you always respond? When you're always there? Desperation, neediness, low value. Here's the dark truth that no one wants to admit. Availability equals expendability. The more accessible you are, the less valuable you become. It's basic economics. Supply and demand. When the supply is infinite, the demand drops to 0. Think about it. Really think about it. The friend who always answers, taken for granted, used when convenient, forgotten when not needed. The partner who always forgives, disrespected, tested, pushed to the limit because there's no consequence. The employee who stays late every night, never promoted. Why? Because the company knows you'll do it anyway. There's no scarcity, no mystery, no cost. When something is always there, the human brain assigns it 0 value. It's not conscious. It's automatic. It's primal. We want what we can't have. We chase what runs away. And we discard what chases us. This is hardwired into our psychology from millions of years of evolution. Your constant availability sends a subliminal message that destroys your value. It says, "I have nothing better to do. I have no other options. I'm sitting here waiting for you. I need you more than you need me. I'm grateful you even acknowledge me." And the moment someone believes that, you've lost. The power dynamic shifts permanently. They'll test your boundaries, they'll push your limits, they'll see how much they can take before you finally break. And most people never set that limit. They just keep giving, keep explaining, keep sacrificing, until there's nothing left but resentment and exhaustion. Starting today, you operate on delay. This is non-negotiable. Text back, add 2 hours minimum. Better yet, add 4. Favor requested? Let me check my schedule. Even if your schedule is empty, especially if it's empty. Invitation? I'll let you know. Don't commit immediately. Make them wait, make them wonder. Make them work for your time. Watch what happens. Watch the shift. The people who truly value you, they'll wait. They'll respect your time because they understand quality requires patience. They'll appreciate your presence more because it's not guaranteed. The parasites. They'll panic. They'll double text. They'll guilt trip. They'll suddenly need you urgently. And that panic reveals everything. It exposes their true intentions. Your absence becomes the mirror that shows people who they really are. Here's what most people don't understand. Scarcity creates value. This applies to money, resources, and especially to human attention. When you're not always available, people start to wonder. What is he doing? Who is he with? Why isn't he responding? Is he seeing someone else? Did I do something wrong? That curiosity becomes interest. That interest becomes respect. That respect becomes influence. And that influence becomes power. You're not playing games. You're establishing your worth. You're teaching people that your time is valuable, that your attention is earned, not given. That access to you is a privilege, not a right. Drop in the comments. My time has a price. Protocol 2. Master strategic muteness. I'm about to tell you something that will feel wrong, something that goes against every instinct you have. Stop explaining yourself. Stop defending your decisions. Stop justifying your boundaries. Stop proving your worth. Explanations are confessions of weakness. Every time you justify your actions, you're asking for permission to exist. You're seeking approval. You're giving others power over your choices. Machiavelli understood this on a level most people never reach. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. The powerful don't explain. They decide, they act, they move, and they let their actions speak. Here's the psychological warfare behind silence. When you go silent, when you refuse to fill the void with explanations, people's minds fill it with their own fears. They project, they assume, they spiral, they create narratives. And in that spiral, you gain control without saying a word, without lifting a finger, without engaging at all. Silence is not the absence of communication. It's the loudest statement you can make. It's a declaration. It's a boundary. It's a weapon. It forces people to confront their own insecurity. When you don't defend yourself, they can't attack you. There's no target. When you don't justify yourself, they can't debate you. There's no argument. When you don't react, they can't control you. There's no leverage. Let me give you a real example. A friend betrays you, talks behind your back, shares your secrets, undermines you to others. Old you? You'd send paragraphs explaining why it hurt. You'd detail every moment of the friendship. You'd list all the times you were there for them, all the sacrifices you made, all the loyalty you showed. You'd demand an explanation. You'd ask why. You'd need closure. You'd want them to understand the damage they caused. You'd hope for an apology. New you. You vanish. No block, no unfriend, no dramatic post. No mutual friends getting involved. Just gone. Complete radio silence. They'll spend weeks trying to figure out what happened. They'll replay every conversation in their head. They'll analyze every interaction looking for clues. They'll reach out tentatively, then desperately, then angrily. And you'll say nothing. They'll drive themselves crazy trying to understand your silence. That's not coldness, that's strategic ambiguity. That's psychological dominance. The mistake most people make is thinking silence is passive. It's not. Silence is active, it's intentional, it's a choice, it's a calculated move. It's a weapon that cuts deeper than words ever could. When you remove your presence from someone's life without explanation, you leave them with a void they can't fill. They can't argue with silence. You can't win an argument with someone who won't argue. They can't manipulate what isn't there. They can't win a fight you refuse to have. And that drives them insane. Because humans need closure, we're wired for it. We need to understand, we need to categorize, we need to make sense of things. And when you deny them that, when you leave them in uncertainty, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is power, true power. This week, practice the 3-second rule. It's simple but transformative. Before responding to anything emotionally charged, anything that triggers you, anything that makes you want to defend or explain, count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Most times, you'll realize the response isn't worth it. You'll see that engaging only drains you, depletes your energy, lowers your vibration. You'll understand that some people don't deserve your words, they don't deserve your explanation, they don't deserve your energy. Silence isn't empty, it's loaded, it's full of meaning. It's a statement that says, "You're not worth my energy. You're not worth my explanation. You're not worth my time. You don't get to occupy space in my mind anymore." And that message hits harder than any argument ever could. It's final, it's absolute, it's irreversible. Comment: my silence is my statement. Protocol 3. Weaponize your suffering. Every scar you have is data. Every wound contains intelligence. Every betrayal is a lesson in human nature. Every moment you thought would break you. That was training. That was preparation. That was the universe forging you into something stronger. Machiavelli wrote, "Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great." But here's what he really meant, what most people miss. Pain is the tuition fee for power. Suffering is the price of wisdom. Most people run from pain. They numb it with distractions. They avoid it with entertainment. They medicate it with substances. They blame others for it to avoid responsibility. The dangerous ones, they study it like a textbook. They analyze it like a scientist. They extract every lesson like a miner searching for gold. I once lost everything in 72 hours. Business collapsed. Relationship ended. Reputation destroyed. Everything I built for 5 years gone in 3 days. I had 2 choices in that moment: victim or student, destroyer or creator. I chose student. I locked myself in a room with a notebook and analyzed every mistake. Every red flag I ignored. Every warning sign I dismissed. Every time I chose comfort over truth. Every moment I prioritized being liked over being respected. 6 months later, I rebuilt everything. But this time, fireproof. Because I understood something most people never learn. Pain is information. It's your nervous system, your intuition, your higher self telling you, this doesn't work. This person is dangerous, this pattern will destroy you, this path leads to suffering. But most people ignore the data. They make the same mistakes over and over and over. They date the same type of person with a different face. They trust the same kind of friend in different packaging. They fall for the same manipulations with different words. Why? Because they treat pain as something to escape, rather than something to learn from. They want the hurt to stop, but they never ask why it started. They want relief, but they never seek understanding. They want the symptoms to disappear without addressing the cause. That's the difference between someone who grows and someone who just survives. Between someone who evolves and someone who repeats. Get a journal. Not a diary, a laboratory, title it Pain Lab, make it sacred. Every time something hurts, and I mean really hurts, write 3 things. First, what happened, the facts, the timeline, the actions. Second, what I ignored, the red flags, the warnings, the gut feelings, the intuition. Third, what this teaches me about control, about power, about human nature, about myself. You're not healing. Healing implies going back to how you were. You're upgrading. You're evolving. You're becoming a version of yourself that can't be hurt the same way twice. Pain is your personal PhD in human nature. Stop wasting it on tears. Start using it as intelligence, as ammunition, as armor. Because the person who learns from pain becomes immune to manipulation. They see the patterns before they repeat. They recognize the red flags before they invest. They protect themselves before they need to recover. They build walls before the invasion. Every time you get hurt, you have a choice. You can either let it weaken you or let it sharpen you. Make you brittle or make you steel. Weak people blame. They point fingers. They play victim. They tell the story of how they were wronged. Strong people analyze. They take responsibility. They find the lesson. Broken people repeat. They cycle through the same pain. Dangerous people evolve. They transform. They become untouchable. The next time someone betrays you, don't just cry about it, study it, dissect it. What did you miss? What did they show you that you ignored? What part of you wanted to believe the lie? Those answers are more valuable than any revenge, because once you learn the lesson, you become unbreakable. The same trap won't work twice. Comment: my pain is my power. Protocol 4. Build walls that command respect. Boundaries without enforcement are suggestions, and suggestions get ignored. They get trampled. They get violated. You've been taught that saying no makes you difficult, that having standards makes you demanding, that protecting yourself makes you selfish. Good. Let them think that. Difficult people don't get used. People with standards don't get disrespected. People who protect themselves don't get destroyed. Machiavelli said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. You need both, the intelligence of the fox and the strength of the lion. The fox sets boundaries, the lion enforces them." Here's the mistake 99% of people make. You announce your boundaries like they're up for debate, like they're negotiable, like they're suggestions. I don't really like when you do that. It kind of bothers me. If you could, maybe. Would you mind not? Stop negotiating, stop softening, stop apologizing for having needs. State boundaries once, calmly, clearly, firmly, no explanation, no justification, no apology. I don't discuss my personal life at work, period. I don't lend money, end of discussion. I don't respond to texts after 9 p.m. Non-negotiable. If violated, no second warning, no reminder, no explanation, just distance, immediate, permanent. The boundary isn't the words. Anyone can say words. The boundary is the consequence, the action, the enforcement. People will test you exactly once. That first violation is crucial, critical. Everything depends on your response. If you cave, they learn you don't mean what you say. You're all bark, no bite. If you argue, they learn you're emotional and can be manipulated through guilt or anger. If you explain, they learn you need approval and can be convinced to lower your standards. But if you simply withdraw without drama, without anger, without explanation, without a single word, they learn something crucial, something that changes the entire dynamic. This person means what they say. This person doesn't negotiate their peace. This person will remove me without hesitation. This person values themselves more than they value this connection. And that realization creates instant respect. That's the shift most people never make. They think boundaries are about telling people what not to do, setting rules, making demands. They're not. Boundaries are about showing people what happens when they do it anyway. And the strongest consequence is always removal. Not yelling, not threatening, not arguing, not explaining, just gone. Because when you remove yourself, you remove their access to you. And access is what manipulators need to survive. They need your reaction to feel powerful. They need your explanation to find weaknesses. They need your guilt to maintain control. Take that away, and they have nothing. No leverage, no power, no control. Here's what happens when you enforce boundaries correctly. The wrong people leave quickly, angrily, dramatically. They'll call you cold, selfish, difficult, changed. Let them. The right people respect you more. They value your time because it's not infinite. They honor your space because it's protected. They appreciate your presence because it's earned. And you finally get peace. Real peace. Not the false peace of avoiding conflict. The real peace of protecting your energy. Because you're no longer managing other people's behavior. You're not trying to control them. You're not trying to change them. You're showing them the cost of disrespecting you. And that cost is always the same. You disappear. Comment: my boundaries are laws, not requests. Protocol 5. Love without chains. This one destroys most people, breaks them completely. You think attachment is love? It's not. It's fear. It's trauma. It's programming. Machiavelli wrote, "He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command." You can't command anything you can't walk away from. Read that again. The person you can't leave controls you. The job you can't quit owns you. The friend you can't lose manipulates you. The relationship you can't end traps you. Detachment isn't coldness, it's not cruelty, it's not heartlessness, it's freedom. It's power, it's self-respect. It's the ability to care deeply while remaining able to leave completely. You love someone, great, beautiful, wonderful. But the second they disrespect you, the moment they violate your boundaries, the instant they show you who they really are, you can vanish without a second thought. That's not heartless. That's not cold. That's self-respect, that's self-love. Because real love doesn't require you to tolerate abuse. Real love doesn't ask you to sacrifice your peace. Real love doesn't demand you explain your boundaries. Real love doesn't test your limits. If someone truly values you, they won't push your boundaries. They won't test your patience. They won't make you choose between them and your self-respect. They won't put you in positions where you have to defend your worth. The problem is, most people confuse attachment with connection. They think they're the same, they're opposites. Attachment says, I can't live without you, I need you, I'll die if you leave. Connection says, I choose to be with you, I want you, I'm better with you but whole without you. Attachment is needy, desperate, suffocating. Connection is powerful, selective, liberating. Attachment makes you desperate, willing to accept anything, willing to tolerate everything. Connection makes you selective, clear about what you deserve, willing to walk away from what doesn't serve you. When you're attached, you'll tolerate anything to keep the person. Disrespect, betrayal, lies, manipulation. When you're connected, you'll walk away the moment they violate your peace, immediately, without hesitation, without looking back. Practice phantom exits. This is crucial, life-changing. Mentally rehearse walking away from everything you're attached to. Your job. Visualize handing in your resignation, your relationship. Imagine packing your bags, your city. Picture yourself buying a one-way ticket, your friend group. See yourself starting fresh somewhere new, not because you will, not because you want to, but because you could, because you have the strength, the resources, the courage. The moment you know you can leave is the moment you stop being desperate. And desperation is what they feed on, what they exploit, what they use to control you. When you're desperate, you negotiate. You compromise. You accept less than you deserve. You tolerate what should be unacceptable. But when you're detached, when you're free, you simply observe. Does this serve me? Does this respect me? Does this align with my standards? Does this add value to my life? If not, you leave. No drama, no explanation, no second chances. Just gone. This doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care correctly, appropriately, strategically. You care about yourself first, your peace first, your standards first. Because if you don't protect your own peace, no one else will. The world will take everything you give and ask for more, demand more, expect more. The only way to stop that is to become someone who can walk away, not someone who threatens to leave, not someone who talks about leaving, not someone who fantasizes about leaving. Someone who will actually disappear the moment their boundaries are crossed, without warning, without negotiation, without explanation. Comment, I can walk away from anything. Protocol 6. Give trust strategically, not emotionally. Blind loyalty is suicide, self-destruction, career suicide, emotional suicide. Machiavelli warned, men are so simple and yield so readily to the desires of the moment that he who will trick will always find another who will suffer to be tricked. Your loyalty should be earned, re-earned constantly, and revocable at any moment. Not because you're disloyal, not because you're a bad friend, because you're strategic, because you're intelligent, because you understand human nature. Here's the reality nobody wants to admit. Most people are loyal to you as long as it benefits them, as long as you're useful, as long as you're convenient. The second the cost outweighs the reward, gone, vanished, ghost. So why are you giving lifetime commitments to temporary people? Why are you ride or die for people who are rental cars? People will tell you loyalty is everything, that you should never give up on people, that you should stick by your friends no matter what. That blood is thicker than water, that real ones stay forever. But those same people will abandon you the moment it's convenient, the moment you're no longer useful, the moment standing by you becomes costly, because loyalty without reciprocity is slavery. You're serving someone who wouldn't serve you. You're protecting someone who wouldn't protect you. You're sacrificing for someone who wouldn't sacrifice for you. You're bleeding for someone who wouldn't bandage you. That's not loyalty. That's self-destruction disguised as virtue. Implement quarterly reviews for relationships. Treat your social circle like a business portfolio. Every 3 months, sit down and evaluate. Does this person add value or drain energy? Are they consistent or conditional? Do they respect my boundaries or test them constantly? Are they there in crisis or just in celebration? If the answer tilts negative, if the cost-benefit analysis shows you're losing, adjust your investment. Reduce your availability. Lower your effort. Remove your loyalty. You don't owe anyone loyalty they haven't earned. Loyalty is a privilege, not a default setting, not a birthright, not something you give because you've known someone for years. The mistake most people make is giving loyalty based on history. We've been friends for 10 years. We've been together for 5 years. We've worked together forever. We grew up together. So what? Time doesn't equal value. Longevity doesn't equal quality. Just because someone has been in your life for a long time doesn't mean they deserve to stay. Doesn't mean they've earned continued access. Doesn't mean they're adding value now. The person they were 5 years ago might have been amazing. The person they are today might be toxic. Evaluate people based on their current behavior, not past performance, not potential, not who they used to be, not who they might become. What are they doing now? How are they treating you now? Are they adding to your life now? Are they respecting you now? Because people change, circumstances change, priorities change, and sometimes the person who was once your biggest supporter becomes your biggest drain. Sometimes the friend who used to have your back now stabs it. Sometimes the partner who used to love you now uses you. Sometimes the mentor who used to guide you now controls you. And if you stay loyal to the memory instead of the reality, you'll destroy yourself trying to save something that's already dead. Something that's been dead for months or years. Strategic loyalty means you're always evaluating, always measuring, always aware, always conscious. You give people chances, but not infinite chances. You forgive mistakes, but not patterns. You support growth, but not stagnation. You help people who help themselves, but not people who expect you to carry them. And the moment someone shows you they don't value your loyalty, the moment they take it for granted, the moment they assume you'll always be there, you remove it. Not with anger, not with drama, not with announcements. You just stop investing, you stop prioritizing, you stop being available, and you redirect that loyalty toward people who actually deserve it, people who've earned it, people who reciprocate it. Comment, my loyalty is earned, not given. Protocol 7. Become psychologically bulletproof. This is the final evolution, the ultimate transformation, the end goal. You reach a point where nothing external can disturb your internal state. Nothing. Insults? Irrelevant. They bounce off like rain on glass. Betrayal expected. You saw it coming. Chaos. Tuesday, just another day. Rejection? Neutral. It means nothing. Machiavelli said, the first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. But the real intelligence, the true mastery, not needing anyone around you at all. The untouchable aren't cold. They're not sociopaths. They're not broken. They're complete, whole, self-sufficient. They don't avoid people. They don't hate people. They just don't need them, and that makes all the difference. There's a difference between lonely and alone. A massive difference. Lonely is a wound, a deficit, a lack. Alone is a weapon, a strength, a power. Lonely means you need people to feel whole. You need validation to feel valuable. You need company to feel comfortable. Alone means you're whole by yourself. You validate yourself. You're comfortable in your own presence. Most people are terrified of being alone because they've never learned to be comfortable with themselves. They need constant validation, constant attention, constant company, constant noise to drown out their own thoughts, and that need makes them controllable, exploitable, vulnerable. Because the moment you need something, someone can take it away. Someone can use it as leverage, someone can control you with it. Build a life so fulfilling that other people are bonuses, not necessities. Additions, not foundations. Master a skill that makes you valuable. Build financial independence so you never need to tolerate disrespect for a paycheck. Develop physical strength so you feel powerful in your body. Create mental discipline so you control your thoughts instead of them controlling you. when your happiness doesn't require external validation, when your peace doesn't depend on other people's behavior, when your worth isn't determined by other people's opinions, you become ungovernable, uncontrollable, unstoppable. Nobody can threaten you with abandonment because you're fine alone. Nobody can bribe you with approval because you approve of yourself. Nobody can control you with fear because you've already faced your demons and won. You've removed all the levers, eliminated all the vulnerabilities, closed all the back doors. You've become a closed system that only you can access. This is the ultimate power move, the final boss level. When you don't need people, they start to need you. When you don't chase validation, people start chasing yours. When you don't react to disrespect, people start respecting you. When you're not available, people start valuing your time. It's counterintuitive, but it's true, it's universal. The less you need from others, the more they give. The less you care about their opinion, the more they value yours. The less available you are, the more they want your time. Because humans are wired to pursue what runs away and ignore what chases them. We want what we can't have. We value what's scarce. We respect what doesn't need us. Most people spend their entire lives trying to be liked, trying to fit in, trying to belong. They mold themselves to fit whatever box people want them in. They hide their truth to be accepted. They compromise their values to belong. They sacrifice their authenticity to be chosen. And they end up miserable because they're living someone else's life. Living by someone else's rules. Chasing someone else's approval. The untouchable do the opposite. They define themselves clearly. They enforce their standards ruthlessly. They remove anyone who doesn't align without hesitation. And they build a life so solid, so fulfilling, so powerful, that other people's opinions become background noise, irrelevant static. When you reach this state, when you achieve this level, criticism doesn't hurt because you know your worth. It's not determined by external opinions. Rejection doesn't sting because you don't need their acceptance. You've already accepted yourself. Betrayal doesn't break you because you expected it. You understood human nature. You move through the world like water, adapting without losing your essence, flowing without being controlled, powerful without being aggressive, soft without being weak. This is the final protocol. This is what separates the untouchable from everyone else. This is what makes you bulletproof. Comment: I am complete within myself. Before you implement these protocols, before you start this journey, understand something crucial. People will hate this version of you, genuinely hate it. The ones who benefited from your weakness will call you cold, heartless, changed. The ones who exploited your kindness will say you've lost yourself. The ones who took advantage will claim you're selfish, arrogant, too much, good. Their discomfort is proof the protocols are working. Their anger is confirmation you're doing it right. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." But I'd add this: it's better to be respected than comfortable. It's better to be alone than disrespected. It's better to be misunderstood than manipulated. You're not here to be liked. You're not here to make everyone comfortable. You're not here to explain yourself. You're here to be unbreakable, untouchable, sovereign. These protocols will isolate you temporarily. People will leave. Friendships will end. Relationships will dissolve. But they'll elevate you permanently. You'll attract better people, stronger connections, real loyalty. The question is, are you willing to be misunderstood on your way to becoming untouchable? Are you willing to lose the wrong people to find the right ones? Because that's the cost, the price of power. People won't understand why you stopped explaining. They won't understand why you went silent. They won't understand why you walked away, and you won't explain it to them. Because the moment you understand these protocols, the moment you internalize this wisdom, you realize something crucial, something liberating. You don't owe anyone your energy. You don't owe anyone your time. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting yourself. Your peace is not negotiable. So here's your choice. The fork in the road: you can close this video and go back to being accessible, explainable, and breakable. Back to the old version, the safe version, the version everyone prefers. Or you can screenshot these 7 protocols and start today, right now, this moment. If you're serious, if you're committed, do 3 things right now. Hit subscribe because this is just the beginning. There are 12 more protocols coming, each one more powerful than the last. Drop your biggest takeaway in the comments. I read every single one. Every comment, every insight. Share this with one person who needs to stop bleeding energy, one person who's still giving to people who don't deserve it. And here's your final challenge, your mission. For the next 7 days, implement one protocol, just one. Pick the one that resonates most, then come back and tell me what shifted, what changed, what you noticed. Because the Machiavelli Protocol isn't theory, it's not philosophy. It's psychological warfare disguised as self-improvement. And the war starts now, today, this moment. Remember this, burn it into your mind. The world doesn't respect the good, it respects the unbreakable. Stop apologizing for your boundaries. Stop explaining your silence. Stop justifying your standards. Stop bleeding for people who wouldn't bandage you. Become untouchable, become ungovernable, become complete. This is the Machiavelli Protocol, and you just activated it. Final comment drop. I am the protocol.